Hello, I'm Dr. Shoshana Garfield. Today I want to talk with you about something that most people don't know about forgiveness. A very important distinction that when you allow yourself to make it, lays the groundwork for your own forgiveness of the people that do things to you or have done, and also allows you thus to find your own peace and joy, being able to just leave it all behind. And that is to make the distinction between being really angry at a person and being really angry with an act. They're very, very, very different things. And so when you're talking about something that's happened to you, say, even if it's just one incident, right? Just to make it easy for our examples. One incident, it's really easy to be angry at the person. Oh, I'm so angry at so-and-so for what they did. There are a few things about this which are really important to help you make the distinction. And that's, one, that everybody really is trying their best. Now, I personally had a really hard time with that. I struggled with it for years. I could not imagine that this could possibly apply, for instance, to my own mother. I couldn't imagine that her best was really to have me used by a pedophile ring in exchange for drugs. Was that really her best? Well, actually it was. Not in a way that's derogatory towards her, but to understand compassionately that with her limited resources and her limited understanding and her willingness to let herself drown, that was the best she can do in her circumstances. And that's not to say that people can't stretch and move, but you can only do your best at any given time. I tell my clients quite regularly, you're in control of the pace, you do it at your pace and your time, because your pace is the only one that you can do. How could you do it at anyone else's pace, right? Same with forgiveness, your journey. It's also the same with the other person that hurt you. That they've been trying their best, even if their best wasn't good enough at all, even if their best was woefully inadequate, even if their best was disgusting, still their best at that time. And so in understanding that they were really doing their best, that's one of the building blocks to making the distinction between the act, being angry at the act, and being angry at the person. Here's another distinction. This is a very subtle distinction. And that is that it's a paradox, not a contradiction. A contradiction is when something cannot be white and black at the same time. They can one color or another. That's it. A paradox when both things, apparently opposite, are true. And the distinction to get here is that although this person acted horribly, and as you have that horrible act, that the person themselves are fundamentally good. That there's goodness in there. That their humanity is intact underneath, no matter what it was. Honestly, no matter what. It's a good deal of how I've come to forgive my torturers. Or rather, a good deal of how I've come to forgive the people who tortured me. That there is a strand of humanity that runs through all of us. We all belong to this group called humanity, even though some of us are complete mess-ups and screw-ups and really hurtful. Or at least do these really hurtful acts at times. And in recognition of that goodness, then their act becomes a tragedy. A tragic missed opportunity to express that goodness. It becomes genuinely just so terribly sad that they did what they did, because they're capable of so much more, even though they were doing their best. And it's in recognizing that thread of goodness in them, no matter how thin the thread is, or if you want a light metaphor, how dim the light may be, down to embers, it's there. I'm reminded of Star Wars and Luke saying, I know there's goodness in you, Father, kind of thing. And there was, and I know it's all Hollywood, but yeah, maybe there's something to it. And in recognizing that paradox, being able to hold that paradox, allowing with that act complete rejection of the legitimacy of that, complete rejection of that being okay, and yet the person being fundamentally good underneath all the CRAP. Holding that paradox makes it not only possible but inevitable that you make the distinction between the person and the act. You see, it naturally happens. Now, once that happens, it opens up all kinds of possibilities, because it's not that whole person that you've got to work things out with. It's your relationship to the act, which then links into really cool stuff, which is you being responsible for your relationship with things that have happened in the past. So I know this is a very complex video this time, very layered in its presentations, and yet such an important distinction. There's no exercise really to do here, except to allow yourself to take on board in whatever way that means for you. You might want to watch it a couple of times. You may want to write something. You may just want to think or feel how it feels to watch this and think about it. Allow yourself to be aware of that. And hopefully this is a gift for you for your journey. Very best wishes, and bye for now.